if you're, we done or what? Oh, boy, we're already, two committees, right? If you're on the outreach and education committee, I just 5 minutes maybe. I just wanted to say that what we have a couple of things going. We have, possible radio show. I'm gonna put in an application for that. We don't know what time slot we're gonna be, but they run their public affairs shows Monday through Friday between the hours of 4 and 6 in the afternoon. So if you're interested in doing one of those, you can let me know. Mostly what we're gonna do is we're gonna be doing public presentations, and we're going to start with the fluoridation issue. Whatever else we can do, we'll do slideshows. Starting with the public library, and then we might go out into groups. That's the plan, to go out into neighborhood groups, and senior centers and schools in the daytime. The other things are more in the evening. There are 5 neighborhood groups scattered around the city. And they generally meet in the evening, but once a month on different days of the week, depending on the group. So those are some of the things. And then, you know, if you have any other ideas, I know that there are people in the group here that expressed, you know, interest in writing policy papers. Participating on the radio show or giving public presentations. So those are all things that we're going to be doing. And we'll be working with topics that come to us either mostly from this committee, from the committee that just adjourned, the Eco-Toxicology Committee, or from the Legislative Committee, which will be getting things from eco-toxicology, be getting things from the city council through the commission. So when the commission, see what happened last year was that the commission only meets once a month. Sometimes the city council would like to have an answer a little bit quicker than that, you know. So by having a legislative committee, we could meet in between and then use up less of the commission time and also speed up the process by which we can respond to a request that's made by the city council.
I have a question. For the outreach, in regards to the water, is the outreach, is it going to be, what is the outreach going to be informing people about, like, is it going to go up for a vote? And are you informing people like what the pros and cons are, so then they would know, they'd be informed when they vote? Or is it that, like, is it on the assumption that maybe the city will take fluoride out of the water, and then like letting people know what they can do, you know, like it's important to have fluoride toothpaste. I guess, what is the intent of the outreach?
The intent of the outreach is to get the public involved in issues, and so that they won't be
Because right now,
conned by propaganda.
so I guess right now with the water, so I guess with fluoride, for example, what would be the intent with the fluoride? Is it to inform, but is it just general information? Is it going to go up for a vote that the city residents are going to have to vote on?
No,
or does the
I
city
don't
council
believe
just
it.
decide?
No, I don't believe it has to go to a referendum,
Okay.
but you know, well, the neighborhood meetings are usually attended by the city council people. So the city council people want to find out what the residents feel about different issues. So that's why it's important for them to be informed.
Okay.
See, like I live on the south side, so Rebecca Rathmel and Hadassah Medvetsky are the 2 council members that represent the south side. They go to the south side neighborhood assembly meeting once a month. It's on the 3rd Tuesday at 7 PM or 6 PM, I think in the wintertime. And then there's another one on the west side of the city. And I believe Virginia Middleton and Robert Kavanaugh both go to that same meeting over there. And then there's another one that Nate Hotchkiss goes to on the north side of the city. And right now there's a vacant seat for the first ward, so.
So just to reiterate, the goal of the Education and Outreach Committee is to present the facts of whatever is happening, so you would have to say, not would, but you maybe should say that there is like, while there is an overwhelming, like maybe research to say that there's a negative effect, there is also research to suggest that it's not necessarily the worst thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, or as long as it's in lower doses.
yeah, but you also have to point out that not all research is equal. If you have a study with 10 people, another study with 2,000 people, they usually give more weight to the one with 2,000, assuming that both of them have a good design to them, and don't have a lot of confounding variables that haven't been corrected for. So a good study sometimes is very expensive to do because you're involving a lot of people, right? And you have to give like an assessment of how valid the study is. And that's one of the reasons why the studies that were done more recently are better than the ones that were done decades ago. Now, there's another part of this too, and that is, I think, just to get people aware of environmental awareness, environmental issues, to foster environmental awareness. So, for example, if we go to a school or something, we're not going to give a detailed talk about fluoride. We might mention a few things about it, but basically we might want to give them a little education on environmental issues in general, why they should be concerned and why we need to take care of our environment and how important it is to our health, things of that nature. You have to tailor things to your audience.
How often do you want, like, and especially the students, like May is going to be coming soon, so like, and especially if they're going to be involved, like how soon would we be beginning the outreach and how often, and are there and then what are the topics? Do you have topics in mind that you want to do the public outreach? Like here are the topics we'll work on this year or within like the next few, like the next quarter.
Yeah, I want us to, at the next meeting, let's propose topics. We'll have a bit of a longer meeting.
Should we do it ahead of time and then like just save time?
Sure.
Like have,
Yeah.
is everybody on, are you guys on Basecamp?
No, that's the problem.
You can have it set up so that they're not, like, you could have it do a different project, so then they're part of. Like underneath ours, but they can't see what we can see, but they can see, like, they'd be on a project, and that might be helpful, like, in between, so then. If people like, hey, these are the things that I'm thinking about, and then people can think about it in between, and then that way, we can get down, like, here's what we're gonna do, and then if people wanna have like, let's say, here are the paper, yeah. But I think anything that we wanna consider, like, at least knowing it ahead of time, so then, especially if our block is supposed to be a half hour.
Yeah, that's what we have to, work on, is try to get accessibility, just like we don't have accessibility to the Parks Department, and now we have people at this table who don't have accessibility to Basecamp for commission. And
That's an easy fix, or even if we don't use Basecamp, we could use something else, if I don't, like, if anybody has any problem, or I don't know if the city has.
this is where we make the decisions about what the committee's gonna pursue. So I mean, we can shoot each other ideas via email or whatever, want to do chats or whatever you want to do. But when we have our meeting here is when somebody could make a motion that we do this for the schools. And then we'll discuss it and take a vote. We'll move forward with it. Okay?
I guess,
Yeah, I mean, just like, regular Robert's rules type stuff.
I guess would you guys be interested in doing, like, having anything ahead of time, or would you just wait until we're here? Like, would you want to see ahead of time when people submit ideas? And then like see ahead of the meeting, or is that like an extra step that you don't?
Yeah, I
wanna
think we
take?
could brainstorm ideas and then bring them to the next meeting and then make decisions on going forward. Good? Sound good?
You look like you want to say something.
No, I'm just like. My only hesitation is that if there's like a month between each meeting, then it just like takes a while for things to start up. So if you had an idea that you're like, oh, I want to pursue this, but I want to bounce this idea off someone. Like I do think it's a good idea to at least have an easier access to communication maybe of the group. So you could say, I'm thinking of this idea. Is there anything that like, I don't know, how should I best prepare this for the next meeting? Or I want to get this running off the ground as soon as possible. So what do I do for those steps? But that's also just me thinking aloud.
We could also agree to have a special meeting in a couple of weeks,
Okay,
maybe just like,
No, it's
it's not something that you need to do every month, but since we're like just starting anew in the year now and getting off the ground with a new group, we could have an extra meeting in between so that we don't have to wait a full month. And then once we have our plan and we're implementing the plan, then we don't need to have meetings because we're actually doing the stuff then, it's like we've made the decisions on what we want to do.
Okay.
But I don't have a problem of scheduling a meeting next week or the week after.
And I should know this. Do you guys have a break this month or no? Or is your first break next month?
Next month.
Okay.
I know we got a presidential holiday coming up next weekend, right?
We got this from, I think, Mike on the committee about like, there are certain kind of windows that are like melting vinyl siding on houses.
Windows?
It's
Yeah.
windows, it's like the sun will go through the window and it acts like a magnifying glass, I guess. And the vinyl will burn on like if you have a house over here and a house over here, the sun will go through and then burn the vinyl on like another house or even your own house. And it looks like your house has been burnt, but it really is just the sun going through a window.
It's really interesting that you say that because my sister's husband's best friend, and it's like somebody that my sister knows, like friends of her and her husband, they the window on their house melted the paint. They like
Yeah,
melted the
it's
paint
that.
on their
It's
car that
that
they just
thing.
got.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that.
But
So I
he
guess
brought us
this-
that.
So it probably gets warped, right?
Mhm.
What'd you say?
He just brought us that. It's like the research that he's done on it, and he's got Mike. He said he's on the committee.
Mike,
Right?
from where?
He was just, I don't know, he's walking around the office earlier.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's really, I was reading through it, it's like really interesting actually.
do you know who Mike is?
It might not be a Mike, we forgot his name. He's really so bad for us.
What's the consensus? Seems to be that it's Mike, right?
Yeah. I can ask somebody at the desk too, but.
But no, it's really funny that you say that because my sister told me about it and then I asked her yesterday for an update and then she told me that's like what they discovered.
Yeah, and he said also like, the people whose house it was like through a neighbor's window that it happened to their house and they called the neighbor's insurance and the insurance company was like, this happens all the time and just wrote a check.
Are there
Like they
certain-
believe that it wasn't like a question if that's a thing or not.
In motion to adjourn the Education and Outreach Committee,
Motion.
second. Thank you.